Good morning, Central Texas. Welcome to Kids Community Connections at My Kids 1031. I'm Phyllis Jones. I am your host. But I have a guest. He's been on the show before, but he hasn't been to this particular building. So for him, this is a whole new playground game. But first, we're going to have a little bit of conversation. Just a little bit. Because I want the last person you hear from is the guest. So our conversation is this. This week, I know we had a victory with George Floyd's case. When we did, we had a victory. And, it is time to celebrate just a little bit. Don't get too comfortable because this is not going to end. But we need to start doing things in the beginning. And what I mean in the beginning is if you pay attention to George Floyd's whole case, you'll notice one thing about his jury. They were diverse. I want y'all to hear me. His jury was diverse. And I'm saying this because too many times when we get a jury summons, I hear 50 reasons why they don't need to go. I'm not going. They're looking for reasons not to go. Yes, we do. We look for reasons not to serve. Why? I don't know. But just think, if he had an all-white jury, they might not have said what they said. They might have lessened the charges against that. They might have. But he had a diverse jury. When I have jury duty in the city, I never have to serve it because I know too many police officers, so I kicked out. But guess what? I go. When there's a county jury summons, guess what? I go. Now, the federal grand jury, I don't like those because it's 90 days. You don't go every day, but you go. And they have your dress code for you to go. All right, so first time I went to federal grand jury, I'm sitting there, I went there with the other 300 of us that was quote-unquote supposed to be there. And I'm dressed just the way the paper said because I followed the rules. And it said I could get fined if I didn't. So I dressed the way you're supposed to. But I get there, I see blue jeans, tennis shoes, skirts and dresses that's not. And most of it's us. We dress that way because we know we'll get sent home. We know I ain't serving, so you know what? If I wear this, I'm like, I'm going to get sent home. So this lady, she came next to me, and she decided to school me really seriously. But anyway, she comes sit next to me, and she gives me the sheet of paper. She said, girl, you need this. So I'm new at this jury duty. Not new to jury duty, but federal grand jury, I'm new to that. So, I looked at the paper. It was a list of excuses. So she going to give me a list of excuses that work. For real, we got that complacent of not serving. She gave me a list. I gave that list right back to her. I'm like, you know what? I'm here to do my duty. I said, but most of all, I'm here because if this trial is somebody who looks like me, I want to be able to say something. I want to be able to say, yeah, idiot, you did it. Or either I want to be able to say, oh, no, he didn't really do this. I want to be a decision-making part of that. So people who look like us, when you get a jury summons, go. I'm going to tell you what happened recently. Then we'll go to my guest. Marvin Guy. We all know about Marvin Guy. In fact, we know that this year in May, it'll be 7 years he's in jail. But the first time, it was about 4 years ago, he did go to court. His trial was going to start. But guess what? All the jury was white. All the jurors were white. Why? Because most of us did the same old thing, look for 50 reasons why not to go. So his jury was all white. His lawyer at that time stopped the trial by saying that for the last 20 years, when Bell County does a capital crime, the jury has been all white. Now, it might not have been by design, but they were all white. But once that's proven, they threw the case out. They didn't throw it out like you think. They threw it out and retried him again. They had to redo the whole thing again. But my thing is this. So I asked his lawyer at the time, were there any black jurors that came through? He said, very few. Very few. What I would have wanted to do, and I can't, I would have wanted to see that darn list. Because, some of us, we know who we are by names. You look at a name, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, she is. I would have wanted to look at that list because how many of us would have had the chance to sit on his trial and actually make a great decision, and have some input on it? How many of us would have had that chance to do that? But we came up with those 50 excuses why I'm not going to serve. So what I'm saying is, George Floyd, and I'll say some of the reason why that cop got convicted, he had a diverse jury. Just think about it. It changes things. So while we're protesting, and I agree with the protest, while we're protesting, while we're standing up, sitting in the streets, whatever we're doing to make things right, remember to add that in there. Add in there, when you get a jury summons, go. You don't know. Don't come up. Now, if you have a real excuse, I'm good with that. I'm fine. But don't come up with one. If they say dress like this, don't come with your pants at your ankles. You know, women, if they whatever they say wear, please don't wear a hoochie mama dress, because that's not where you got to pay the rent at. Come dressed like success, like they say, do that. But what I'm saying to us is, if we want to do things and get it all correct, we've got to start at the beginning. When you get a jury summons, I want to see us there. If you don't get picked, that's fine. Because guess what? You showed up and you were there. So let's start at the beginning of these issues. And the beginning is serving on a jury. That's the beginning of making a decision on what happens later. So serve. Heck, you get paid for it. If you do federal jury duty, you really get paid. I didn't know that till I got chosen. But anyway, just do that. That's all I'm saying. It's simple. It doesn't take you a lot of time. And we need to stop with the, I don't want to be on it. Why not? You know, we've complained before about a jury being all white. We've complained before. All of us have. But did we go to find out how many of us walked away and said, I can't do it? No. So stop it. Just stop. Just go and serve. Okay. That's my soapbox issue. If you get a jury summons, I expect you to go. My guest is David Woodbury. He goes. Wouldn't you, David, go if you were?
Oh, yeah, I do. I do.
See, you need to go.
Yeah, follow all the instructions, read the instructions, do exactly what they say.
Because you never know who's...
I never know who's on trial.
That's it.
You know, if they don't have representation from their own group, we kind of doing them a disservice. You know, we're not protecting them, yeah.
Okay, now on to our topic. You know, April used to be, well, all these months we have used to be designed for one issue, but all of a sudden every month there's like 4 or 5 issues. You know, 4 or 5 celebrations. You know, April used to be child abuse awareness and bam. You know, then they threw the military child in there, and they threw something else in there, and they keep throwing stuff in. But to me, the more they throw in, the less you talk about child abuse. It does. Because military child, oh, you have a T-shirt. Schools had T-shirts. Oh, wow, we did it up. What do we do for child abuse awareness? Nothing. Did we mention it? No. We didn't. Now, in special ed, we did, because we did. But the more we keep piling on something, the more we let child abuse get swept up under the carpet, and the more our kids abused. You know, when child abuse awareness numbers go up, I tell everybody it's our fault because we don't look. It's our fault because if you in, I won't say the name of the store, but if you're in my most hated store and the kids screaming and hollering, you know, I'll listen to the scream because each cry says something different. There's some cries saying, I want this candy and you don't want to get it for me, so I'm going to have a fit. And there's some screams in there where my mother just tried to knock my head off. But we need to pay attention to that because our kids call out to us. But we need to pay attention. So David is here to talk to us about child abuse awareness. And we need to listen. Because like I said, our numbers in Bell County, they're going up. They're not going down. They're really going up. And with this virtual learning, they're really going up. So we need to listen, pay attention, and once again, do something, say something, even if you're wrong. I would rather you call and be wrong than not call at all. CPS would be glad if you call and you're wrong. They're like, good, because they showed one thing. You thought something was wrong, and you took a step. So, David, how do our numbers look for child abuse awareness, for child abuse?
They don't look too good. I mean, they've been going up steadily. There are some cases that were unproven, so they canceled them or closed them out. But you got to realize we have not only just kids that are going to foster care, but we have kids that go into what they call kinship care. And those, that's where the parents and the family get together and they decide on who's going to take care of the grandkids or the nieces and nephews or that situation. Like there have been cases where there's been 9 kids removed from a home, 8 kids removed, large families, 5 removed from the home. So that's steadily the situation now. I guess it's probably because of virtual.
Right.
It's more of an issue. Kids are more at home now, and you know, it's and then the COVID is also causing a problem for them as well. So the numbers constantly going up now more than they did before, and so where they were be able to detect child abuse when kids were in school, they're not able to have that resource. That's one reason children should be in school, so they can kind of teachers can monitor, counselors can monitor the conditions of children and their needs, and they'll have someone to speak to. Since they look to schools as a safe haven for them if they have an issue, but not having that, who do you call when you're at home virtual? You know, you call the school and say, hey, you know, I'm having some issues here. I need help. I mean, it doesn't work that way. So that process has been eliminated kind of. And so as kids go back to school, then you find more cases where they need maybe mild corrections in the family and to get them turned around to go back to what they should be doing. So, but yeah, the numbers are definitely going up. And so I was looking at some of the numbers. It says in foster care, there are 503 kids. But that's 503 kids in foster care. Mm-hmm. But then you got maybe 300 some kids in kinship care, meaning they went back to their family, relative, neighbor. Mm-hmm. Not just family take those kids. If the neighbor was significant to the child and everybody agreed they wanted the neighbor to have the child, that's where they go. So you have all those kids. And are they all in the county? No. We have Region 7, you have kids all over the place. You have a large portion of them are in the county, but then you have a lot of them that are not in other regions. In Region 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is in other places. Houston, Dallas. And so think about that. A child is from Bell County and they're now in Houston, living in Houston in foster care. That is so disheartening for the child. It's hard for them to become more comfortable with their surrounding, their environment, when they're so detached from their family. And we have to work on that. We don't have a lot of foster parents in the county, so we have to farm the kids out that way. Some live in other states.
Yes.
You know, we got some of them that are living in other states, so workers have to travel on a regular basis to see those kids and see that, make sure that they're being serviced, being taken care of, they have all their needs met. And so that's a great thing. But then I was looking at the cases where a child dies, because, you know, this is Child Abuse Awareness Month. And so we kicked off around the 7th of the month, doing all kind of things around the state to make people aware of calling in if you have to, and then also having different little things to give out, giveaways we call them, so that they know what the number is and aware of some of the symptoms of child abuse. And so a lot of people say, well, yelling at them is not child abuse. Yeah, it'll traumatize them. If they're very small, you do it a lot. If they're very old, yeah, they're going to be traumatized. And so we have to really look at how we do them. You know, it doesn't hurt to take a few minutes to be a little more patient with them, or turn them over to somebody who is. If mom is not patient with them, give them to dad. You know, keep people out of your family if they don't have to be in your family. And so we always talk about they all just want to come in the family. Well, they're there to protect the children. You know, think about how that whole thing started. You know, they went and investigated animals because animals during that time were most important. And then they saw children in there and said, oh, God, what are we supposed to do with these kids that are being neglected? We're here for neglected pets. And now we've identified children. Oh, we got to set up a system for that. So that happened as a result of that. So now children need help. They need people to be there for them, be their mentors, be their sounding blocks, someone to go talk to. So yes, that number is really going up, Phyllis. And then I was looking at the number of fatalities for Bell County. According to what I saw on the site, there are 7 fatalities. We've usually been under like maybe 3, but we've been top. We've been number 1 for many years.
We don't want to be number
Now
1.
we're up in the top group. We're still in the top group, which is an issue.
Yes.
You know, you have 7 fatalities, and so now they're up there with Houston and Dallas, those guys there, and so that's not a good like either. There should be no fatalities.
True.
We need a year with no fatalities, but we have some fatality every year. So, and you imagine a child being killed as a result of child abuse. You know, it's just unimaginable. How they feel, how they experiencing that, how they're dealing with that issue. When someone, and then you find out that there were a lot of people that were aware.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a lot of people. Sometimes they say, "Well, we're going to work and we're going to try to take care of them. We're going to talk to the parent. We're going to do," and they do that over months, Phyllis. Over months they'll do this, and then you find out something seriously happened to the child when it could have been stopped way back at the beginning. Turn them over to them. Let them walk into the home, and then talk to the parent. Get some help for them. They have a program now, you know, where if you're having issues, there's a hotline you call for that. You call and say, "I'm having issues.
Right.
I'm not able to deal with this at home. Can you guys help me?" Their intention is not to come take the child. Their plan is to help you find resources. If you don't have no clothes, no food, and you don't know how to find those resources in the community, even though everybody else know where they are, you may not know. So those guys are that program designed to get you the resources, get you the help you need, not take your child away from you. They always assume that you know, when CPS comes in, they're coming to get my kids. That's not true. It's a long process, and courts are the ones that approve that stuff.
Yeah,
it's not the CPS going there to take care. The judges approve to have kids removed, and they try to do everything they can to keep those children at home. It's when parents are reluctant to do some of the things, to take some of the measures that they think are safer for the children, that are going to benefit the child. They just refuse because of stubbornness. They refuse to do it. And then they say, well, I guess, you know, we're going to have to find another resource for this child.
That's right.
We got to find another way to get this child what they need. They shouldn't be going through all this as a small child.
As a midget.
Yeah, and so that's what they do. And so it's been,
you know,
it's been rough.
It's a lady at our campus. I won't say what school I work at, but on our campus, and she knows that I'm on the child welfare board. Excuse me, y'all. I have to blame. The only reason I'm on the child welfare board, I did not ask to be on it. It's a man named David Woodbury just gave me a piece of paper and said, "Fill this out," and there I am. But anyway, and I love it because it's working with kids. But I go back to our school, and our the CPS man. What is she? She was
she's the director.
She's the director. She gives us a sheet of paper to let us know what the numbers are, right? So I go back to school, and I talk to our counselors about it, you know, and I have open dialogue. One day, one of the ladies at our campus was listening to me. Now, listen, she has 2 sets of twin boys on her own. She has them. You know, she goes, "I'm going to be a foster parent, Phyllis, just because I don't like those numbers you keep saying." Mm-hmm. You know, and I'm looking at her, you have 2 sets of twin boys. Don't you have enough?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm thinking, you know, so I'm thinking, okay, that's nice she said that.
Yeah.
But guess what? Last week, she came down to the classroom, she knocking on the door, "Look at my kids." Well, she is a foster parent now. Yeah. She has siblings because she told them she only wants siblings because she said she wouldn't like if her kids, you know, ever had to be separated. So she has a boy and a girl. But if you would have seen her face, you would have thought she delivered the boy and the girl. The little girl, they were dressed to go to church. But they were beautiful pictures. And to her right now, she delivered this boy and this girl.
Yeah.
But she said if I hadn't mentioned the numbers to her, and I was talking, like I said, to the counselor about it, But she said she thought about it, and she was like, no, I got to do this. So to me, I'm going to say it again, 2 sets of twin boys.
Yes, yes.
She now has another boy and girl in her house. And she's so excited. Like I said, she's like too excited. And you know those kids are going to be ruined. They're probably ruined now. But I like the fact that she heard something and she said, hold up, I got room in my house. I could do this. You know, and like I said, if I had 2 sets of twins, I'd be trying to get rid of them. Not going to get any more. I'd be like, does anybody want these?
Your heart has to be in there. It's just like, you know, anything else out there. You have to believe in that, and it has to be your calling. If it's not your calling, don't. But if it is, hey, pursue that. Yeah.
You know the unfortunate thing that we have to look at, and I'm not gonna say we, me, and you, but we as people. Okay, the girl Bryant, who the policeman shot the other day.
Yeah.
She's a foster child.
Yeah. Wow.
My thought process is, okay, I'm not gonna say they should have shot her. She did have a knife, and she was in anger mode. But my thing is this: she's 16 and she's in foster care. So I'm gonna just say it. How much hell has she went through to bring her to that point? You know. So to me, yes, she should not have had that knife to defend herself against 3 girls. I don't know. But my other problem is she's a foster child and she's 16. So she's most likely been in more than one foster home.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we don't know what baggage brought her to that point.
Yeah, with her. Yeah.
You know, so, and we'll never know, and I don't like that. I mean, you know, it's like, some people say, well, she should have got shot. My question is, yeah, but she's a foster child. How much did she go through?
Did she go through, yeah.
What other trauma has she been through?
What other abuse, yeah, absolutely.
You know, so I said I was going to bring it up to David. Because,
yeah, absolutely.
Because David is also on our state board.
Yeah, on the state and region.
So I would like that brought up to you all, to, you know, because that's when, I never thought of it until I heard her when they said she was a foster child. I'm like, well, dang.
Yeah.
How much trauma has she been through? And to get her to do what she was doing, naturally these girls were harassing her, but, you know, how far did she get? You know, what happened with her mentally, you know, did she have to defend herself the whole time she was in foster care or whatever? So I'm like, since I don't know, that became a concerning question.
Yeah. And, you know, I always think about the fact that there are a lot of kids, foster kids, in school, in regular school. I know they protect their privacy, but they do keep a record of many of them that are foster kids, right? Because they need some extra assistance because of the baggage that they've carried from maybe 2 or 3 or 4 foster homes,
right?
And their distance from their regular family. So I always figure, are we servicing them kids effectively?
Right.
Are we providing the support? You know, every year we do the Child Welfare Board, Bell County Child Welfare Board. We try to recognize those kids that have graduated.
Yeah.
And you know that there are hundreds of kids that are just in KISD, the school district. There's a lot of kids, and you know there are a lot of foster kids, and you wondered, why is there only 5 kids graduating from high school that are foster kids? And you know there's got to be a lot of seniors or kids that could be seniors. Then we wonder, are we taking care of that and trying to help them with some of that stuff? And then I also wonder, are we getting them the medical support they need, that counseling that they may need? They've gone through so much stuff.
Right.
Are they getting regular counseling, regular therapy like they should get? That could be an issue. Maybe that through that process, maybe they would go on and graduate from high school and go on and do something. But I don't think that's happening. I think that they only give it to them when it's necessary, when they have these anger modes, and they do that. But I think they should get a regular checkup every once in a while just to see where their mind is, and are they in the right mindset for going on to be somebody successful or whatever.
So you gave me an idea, so I'm going to have to ask you a question. Okay. Child Welfare Board, or would it be Chillen, the director, that could provide a counseling service? Who could provide it?
They have the regular medical support.
Right.
So their workers, their caseworkers, would be Sheila's program. they're the ones that make sure in cases where kids need counseling, get counseling. So it could be any time. I think that what it would be like, state. I think states should kind of mandate, are we getting these kids regular?
Right.
Like they go and get a regular physical.
Right, right.
Are they getting a regular checkup
Mental check.
to see how they're doing? You look at a child that's gone from maybe 5 or 6 foster homes. What have they picked up?
Right.
What are they carrying with them that nobody's addressed?
Right.
When they should say, when a child's moved this many times, we need to get them some counseling, get them in there with a therapist, get them in there with somebody to talk to. Just make it as an automatic thing. When they get to this point, they need to be in with a therapist. Are they assigned to a therapist? Are they going to regular meetings with that therapist? Because then they'll build up a relationship with those guys, and those guys will be able to encourage them to almost like a life coach.
Right, yeah.
Encourage them to, where you're pursuing something, where you want to be and where you want to go. A lot of them get out of foster care and just get a regular job at McDonald's, but they still have all that baggage with them.
Yeah.
They have all that anger management with them. They have all that, self-doubt with them. So are we really thinking about that? Those kids need a lot more than somebody who's been intact with their family the whole time. I wouldn't, if I'm with my family all the time, I wouldn't need it.
That's true.
But the kids that's been moving around with, some of them are not with their own nationality.
Yeah.
Some of them are with people that, whose heart may not always be there. Now, we have foster care, but we don't always have foster care that is where it should be, And so we need to make sure that those kids are getting the care. That's they're in care. So we have to make sure they're getting care that they need. I think that aspect of it is not, I don't think that's being quite taken care of. It's only done when the kid has some outbursts or some problems, then they do it.
Okay. Yeah. So this is right now what I have planned. And so, everybody, y'all going to hear some of my plans. Okay. July is Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. I didn't know that. So now that I do know that, I'm planning a 3-day event surrounding mental health. And one of the days, we're doing a speak out for the youth with some counselors, because a session for them is more of a speak out, And then for the adults, we're going to actually have a session because we're crazy. So what I want to ask you is, I've got 3 counselors who are going to do the kids speak out. So can the state give us a counselor that will come and be a part of the session?
Yeah, I think that's something we could answer you.
So it's the 17th. It'll be 17th of July, and that's a Saturday, and it'll be at Kids University. I'll let you know what time.
Okay.
But if they could send a counselor out, because I don't want the kids separated. I want them all together.
Yeah, you don't want them marked. You want them to be in there just like regular normal kids.
And it's free to the whole weekend. It's free, but we're talking about mental illness. So
and that way they can pick up information. Yes. They can also talk to them afterwards.
There you go.
About things that they're going through things they have issues with.
Yes.
They'll be able to speak. I think that's something Phyllis that we should have on a regular basis.
And see, the counselors I got all work for KISD, which is good.
Yeah.
Because they're not. I don't see kids.
Yeah.
They're in, and I pick people to work in the most difficult schools. What I mean by difficult schools, you all will say high school. I'm not. Elementary school is the most difficult kids in the world. They all in elementary school.
Yeah.
Because they're 10 today and 4 months tomorrow. So all the counselors that I asked, they all work for KISD, and they jumped when I said a speaker. They were like, and they said how much time I got. Well, I'm giving them 2 hours, but if they need more time, that's fine. But I want to do that because, when I found out July was Mental Health Awareness Month, I'm like, no, we can't just let this one go. We can't. We got to stop and do something with it. So far it's 3 days. I'm saying so far. If we need to build another day in, I'm cool with that. I'm great.
Yep.
But
right.
we're going to do this every year too. This is going to be an every year thing, so it will get bigger. But we're going to do it every year. So it's not this year, bam, boom, we're gone. But I would like the state to send us a counselor and bring information, that we can pass out to all the kids.
Yeah, and do it
Yeah.
almost like, we do conferences
Right.
where we give them a goodie bag with
Yes.
information
Yes.
there, some snacks, those
Yes.
kind of things.
Oh,
They'll
yeah.
come.
Oh, yeah.
They'll love that and get programs that deal with children.
Right. To be there.
To
Yes.
refer them. Even with CPS, they have PAL program
Yes.
that deals with kids.
Yeah.
And so especially those are high school ones that are graduating. So they can refer those guys too. So they talk
Well,
to
I
those
want
kids.
them all there.
Yeah.
Like Pal, I'm going to ask Sheila, tell her I want everybody
Yeah,
that has anything to do with kids
with kids, yeah.
to come with their information. Not necessarily to speak,
Yeah.
but have their tables there where they can,
So
we do
they
this.
can talk to them.
Yeah.
That way they're talking to all children because at some point you may find yourself in foster care.
Yeah.
Or you may find yourself being investigated.
That's
so it won't hurt for all kids to get that information. And so they'll at least be aware of it and aware of their self
Yes.
and what they contribute to their downfall and what others do.
And then also they can learn that they're not in this by themselves.
Oh, absolutely. They'll see others. They say, wow. They may not know that other one next to them is foster care, but they may say, God, I didn't know you have some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see, I did one like 2 years ago, and we thought we were smooth, and we thought we adults. I thought I knew everything. Just you couldn't tell me nothing.
Yeah.
And I didn't go in there that way, but I hosted a speak out for kids because they asked me to. Okay, I did it. I sat there looking as crazy as you want to, because the kids introduced themselves and they realized we weren't there to judge them. Once they realized that we were not judging, boy, they talked. But this one high school girl, she goes, she gave her name, and she said, I have a couch surfing network. I was like, you got a who? Okay, one, I do know what couch surfing is, so I know that part. But she said network, and I'm sitting there like, okay, fine. And we're all sitting there, all the adults. You know how we hold our head down and we look at each other for sign up. Do you know what he meant? Nope. So we was all sitting there. So finally, I was the brave one. I said, listen, I know what couch surfing is. You sleep on couches different nights of the week. She goes, yes. What the world is a network? She goes, oh, well, she has it down pat, where you stay all 7 days.
Oh.
She has contact information. Girlfriend had a business.
Oh.
So I'm like, oh, my gosh. So her thing, she said, so I know it's illegal. No, it's not. She goes, what? There's no law saying you can't have this.
Absolutely. You're right.
She said, I said, but there's a problem. She said, what? I said, the problem is we put you in a situation where you had to develop a darn network.
You had to create that yourself. Yeah.
I said, so it's our fault. She said, every adult who let you do this, I said, because we didn't let you. We didn't make you. You saw a
allowed
need.
you the opportunity to do it.
That's it. I said, well, we provided you with the need to do it, and you stepped up to the plate. I said, that's a brilliant idea. She goes, what? I say, I support and I don't support what you're doing. I said, I support what you're doing because it's needed to be done. I don't support it because I can't stand the fact that we got kids sleeping on a scheduled basis.
Yes.
All over the place.
Yes.
But we were sitting there, and she's, and it was a police officer there, and she says, what are you going to do? He said, well, when you let me know where your network is, I'll make sure the kids are safe.
Yeah.
Because he said, I can't turn you in.
Yeah.
Because he said, because I can't fix the issue. So she found out that she had more help. Because we asked her, what can we do to help you? She says, y'all know? No, I don't know. She goes, what do you mean? I said, see, you think because we're adults, we got this automatic brain? She goes, yes, we don't.
Yeah,
I said, right. I don't know how to do with this couch surfing network.
Nope.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I said, so you tell us the need, and we'll try to figure it out. I said, but you got to help us out. And then there's one little girl, she's 10, and she has a suicide prevention program. But she's 10. I'm like, you're 10, what do you know? But,
hey, they do some research. I'm going to tell you.
She's in KISD school.
Yeah.
And she's sitting there, she says, you got a suicide prevention? What? What do y'all do?
Yeah.
And she said, they all talk on the phone to each other at a certain time. She said, we pump each other up. I'm like, so we that bad? The little girl said, what you mean? We adults, we're so bad that
You
you
have to set up your own
attend.
program.
She goes, yeah. I said, see, y'all making us look worse. The lady said, girl said, I said, I'll be glad when this is over. She goes, what? I said, because we're going to have to crawl out of here
You're right.
on our hands and knees.
Yeah,
I said, because you smacking us all in the face.
And you think about how many other youth out there that created their own thing because adults just didn't have the program for them or had set up to where they had access to it. We got to be more transparent.
And from that, a lot of adults that were there, one guy he said, listen, so boys, what y'all need? And the boys were talking about they want to like go fishing and kick back with some men. The guy said, okay, guess what? He said, I go fishing every other Saturday. I will pick y'all up. He said, I'll go to your house. I will pick you up. He said, your parents got to sign a form. He said, but I'll pick y'all up. So, and I checked back. Every other Saturday, those boys are going fishing with him. And that's all they wanted.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, and that's, they do what they do because nobody else is stepping up to the plate to provide something that they wanted, really wanted. So they do the things that they can do without that assistance and that support. We need to really look at, sometimes I go to the parks and I watch kids playing and then I look at those that are not engaged and see how they're interested in being engaged, and I wonder, do they have access to the equipment they need? Right. Do they have funding to get in those programs? Yes, people who have, adults, have programs that they want funding to keep it going, but you cannot block those kids out there that don't have the funding. Our parents are not providing the support that they need, even though they may have the funding. Right. You can't always. That's the one thing that kind of led me to do what I do in the school, making sure that they have those resources. I used to sign kids up all the time. I used to buy them shoes for sports, run out there on the field like I was their parent, putting their soccer shoes on, putting shin guards on them. And people in the stand looking at me saying, he got all them kids? No, I don't have all these kids. I just recognized that I would be coming from a job and running out there and say, why don't he have shoes on like everybody? He's just slipping all over the place. I'd run to Wally World and start grabbing everything I could grab to run out there. That's what we do, because when we do that, then they say somebody cares about me, and so then they do the right thing because they know you are doing the right thing. But it's really something, fellas, I tell you.
And I know it's a parent. I met her because she was yelling at her kid. She was yelling at her kid, and I walked up, and I started talking to her, and he's 5, and she was talking about, he got all this energy, da-da-da. I said, put him in flag football. She goes, he's 5. Doesn't matter. She said, he doesn't know the rules. That's the fun part. She said, what do you mean? It's hilarious to watch them run the wrong way. I said, because one, they're burning off some energy, and they're learning.
They're going to learn. They're going to learn sooner or later. They're going to. Other kids going to encourage them. You're going the wrong way. And then I score there.
So I saw her a couple of weeks ago, and she goes, here. I said, well, here's his schedule. Oh, so.
Oh, now.
She put him in there. She goes, girl, when he come home, she said, I feed him. He take a bath. She said, and he hit the bed.
I said, he's out.
He tired. I said, so do you have to punish him? She said, I don't have time. She said, because she said he's heavy into his little flag football. Yeah. She said, and he think he a pro player. So she said he watches football on television.
Yeah, and the adults that are out there with them stay on them and tell them what they should be doing in the community, what they should be doing with their parents, how they talk to their parent, and how they follow all the rules. They're teaching them all that stuff out there. So
I was like, I think we need to go back and encourage. Some parents don't, like she didn't know there was a flag football for 5-year-olds.
Yeah.
She had no clue.
Yeah.
So I think we need to go back and let parents know that these things exist.
Yeah, they have to seek it out. Yeah, you're right.
So that we can.
Phyllis, one other thing I wanted to talk
keep
about.
On. Go, yeah, we got time. Yeah.
For child abuse, April the 25th is Blue Sunday, and that's for the churches, and that's where the churches put out child abuse awareness information to their parishioners, and so that's the day that that the state identify as Blue Sunday. And they have a website. It's www.bluesunday.org. And if they go on there, they can get free they can get free brochures and information that they can put out to their parishioners.
Right.
They can just print it all out.
See, that's good.
And so then, but they encourage them on the 25th to make that a part of their program
Sermon.
on the 25th.
Right.
To put that information out there to them, because there's a lot of us that are still going to church, and those that are having face-to-face now in the churches would put that out, or put it out virtual. If they have a virtual program
That's
too,
it, yeah.
put it out to your parishioners virtual.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one way we can encourage them to make people aware and find some resources for them if they're having a crisis at home. They don't want the system in their life.
Right.
They know how to do that. So the information, the materials that are on that site are for that purpose, for them to be able to put out to their parishioners. And so that would be ways for them to find resources and things that they can do to prevent CPS in their life. So, but yeah.
That's needed.
Yeah. So that's www.bluesunday.org. So,
That's needed.
yeah.
We need to. We're on the Child Welfare Board.
Yeah.
Explain what the heck we do
Child Welfare Board.
and how we phase in with children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Bell County, there are 3 levels of Child Welfare Board. You have the state, which is the Texas Council Child Welfare Board. I'm on that. I'm a delegate from the region. So I'm on the Texas Council. And those guys legislate. They go to see legislators and they, whatever CPS or the department is needing support or help with, maybe there's a law or rule that needs to be changed to protect, like the one that allowed that prevented CPS from just walking in your house.
Right. Yes.
They have to ask you permission now before they just walk into your house. Well, that was kind of infringement on the lives of some people that maybe yelled at their kid in public and they were called in and now they're in their life.
Right.
So now it's not that. So that's what the Texas Council does. They see legislators and they fight for some of the rule changes or consideration of rule changes. A region, and then they support region.
Right.
If region needs things like giveaways and things to give out to the local boards, then they provide things to them. Then at region is directly responsible for the local boards.
Right.
And so they get things, state gives them money and they provide things that the local boards would use for not fundraisers, but when they're doing an awareness event,
Right. Right.
they would use that. Instead of using funds they may not have at the local level, they would provide them that kind of stuff. And then also they would look at other ways that they can support the local boards, the county boards. County boards, they do the most. They're responsible for supporting CPS, the children, and the families. So when children are taken, of course, we have what we call rainbow rooms at the county levels. And those rainbow rooms are supplied with donated items. We take only new items in there for the children, because once they come from a home, say they come from a meth home, well, they can't take nothing with them. They have to strip out of what they have. So they go to the Rainbow Room, and the Rainbow Room is where the workers get new clothing for them, get them a bag to carry their stuff around. In there, they has a stuffed animal, a book, and food, and all kind of stuff. They get that. And then so the Rainbow Room, they have diapers and all those things. Those are things that we request from the community to donate to the Rainbow Rooms. In Bell County, we have 2 Rainbow Rooms. One is in Temple and one is in Killeen. And so we get those rooms supplied on a regular basis. So workers, when they pick up children late at night, they need food for the kids that's in there. They need clothes for them, shoes, something to read, things that they can do with them until they can get them into foster care. So those things are available to them in those rooms. And then we, as the board members, we do awareness events in the community to make to help people become aware of child abuse, which should be a no-brainer, but we do have to. And then we also take care of kids that may be going to foster care that don't have clothing, so they can take things with them. So we get them shoes and some clothes and just whatever they need. Like we buy pack and plays for the little ones to sleep in. If they're going to stay with a relative or friend, they need a bed to sleep in because the relatives, they weren't prepared to take on 4 new kids or 5 new kids. So they don't have beds for them, and they don't have the funding for it because they don't get regular funding like a foster parent would get. They are on their own. So we try to give them some of the resources going to help them to manage that until they can apply for a licensing to take care of their kids. Most of them really don't care about that. They just want to take care of their grandkids, their nieces and nephews and those things. So we try to accommodate them in that way. And when they have a need for clothing, shoes, milk, bottles, whatever, diapers, we provide that to them. We also take care of them during Christmas time, because now you got 9 kids, 5 kids now to take care of. You don't have no resources. Think of a grandmother who's on Social Security. She on Social Security, and Social Security check ain't gonna cover 4 kids and her. So we provide all those things that she don't have to buy. If they need beds, we get those. We've ordered bunk beds and had them shipped to the homes, so they can get those kids in the home with them as opposed to putting them in foster care and be shipped all over the state. So that we do that. And we do a lot of things like some of the kids may need to go to camp over the summer. They don't have no resources. We're trying to make their life more normal. And one way you make it more normal is by offering some things to them that they probably really need at the time. Participation in different activities in school. We support those things. With graduation time, those who want to graduate, we recognize that and try to make sure those guys that we let them know that we've been there supporting them, we care about them, and that we're so proud that they graduate from high school, and that's great. And we. Now we've been doing virtual with them, where we talk to them, and they're so happy. I remember we got a bed for a kid, and he sent me pictures of it, and he says, look, thank you, because he was sleeping on a mattress until that point, him and his brother. And so now they have bunk beds, and we make sure they have the bedding for it. And then it was just wonderful. They were so happy that now I have a bed, and maybe they didn't have a bed at their regular house. So now I have a bed for the first time, and it's mine, and so we do all this stuff. So the county does a lot. We try to represent the children and the families, try to keep them in there. If they need cleaning supplies, that's in the Rainbow Room. They need cleaning supplies, go in there and clean the house, or they need disinfectants and those kind of things. Those are available. Workers can go in there, instead of going to take the kids, they can take those things. Here's some things you can clean up the house with. Here's some clothing you can have for the kids, and that eliminates a lot of those cases that they otherwise would have had to take.
I remember that little boy who we paid for his teeth to get done.
Oh yeah. Ooh,
so he sent the picture.
Yes.
He sent it with the big old smile. He said,
that was a
picture.
We took care of that. It was it wasn't something that the state could pay for, and so we could pay for it out of our resources as part of our resources, and pay for that. He was so happy that he got it. It was a serious operation for him to have because his whole jaw that was all messed up. So we took care of that, and a lot of times they don't know who we are in the background. We want to leave it with the workers. We tell the workers, here's what you need for your kid or your case, and they go out there, and then they're so happy. Now we recognize caseworkers. We recognize the CPS worker. I like to say that Bell County has some really great CPS workers, case workers, kinship workers, and their staff is just super. I mean, they do everything they can to help children, and sometimes they dig in their pockets to pay for things. And I tell them, don't dig in your pockets. Call us. Call us if it's something reasonable that we can deal with. We are going to take care of that. Rather, you're doing enough by making sure your kids are safe and they're being taken care of, and you're seeing them on a regular basis. but they're super. I enjoy talking to them and making sure that they get all the requests that they need processed in a timely manner. But lately we've had a lot of issues where we had to go and purchase things, and we do everything we can to make sure that happens. But I say, if I had to give stars, they get a 5-star from me. The workers of CPS Department of Protective and Regulatory Services, I give them a 5-star on what they do. I just feel that we need to be more involved in the school, the kids in school, and making sure they're doing okay. I want to know that those kids in school are doing okay. They're carrying a lot more baggage than kids that are in their own homes. And so are we taking care of them emotionally, physically, all that stuff? And so I think that's something we're going to have to pursue. Our board's going to have to pursue that and make sure that we already have this partnership with the school district where we have the collaborative support, but we need to probably do more with that collaborative support. So.
Yeah. And also we feed them for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we do Thanksgiving. Yeah, we do a lot, don't we? We
give them Thanksgiving.
Remember one Christmas we had organized a thing where they could go to the movies free. And we're going to do more of that. We're going to figure out some way to make that happen. And just, it requires a lot of our time, but it goes real good. And we're going to try to do some things next week, if possible, with the kids in some of the schools or in the neighborhood. So we're going to plan on that before we close out April. You remember, really, to me, child abuse awareness is all the time. It's not just, April is just the one month that we want to put more emphasis on child abuse awareness. But we do awareness, we can do it any time of the year we can do, because child abuse don't stop after April. It's not just happening in April. It's happening all the time. So we need to make sure that we're doing awareness all the time. So we don't have to just do our events in April. We can do our events any time of the year, and we should do that, especially during the Christmas time. You know, when people are stressing out, look at all this COVID stuff, we should be doing more, putting out information about how the kids can, the families can better manage their lives and the stress in their homes. Like one time you were on the radio and you were talking about how parents could, take that 5 minutes and move away from them, or send them to Aunt Mary or something, or take you a break, and just find ways to calm down the situation and not escalate the situation. So I think that we need to do more with that one too. So
one thing that I thought about, I was talking to, I can't mention everybody's name, but anyway, I was talking to Kids University. And since he has the skating rink on Fort Hood Road, I asked him, could we plan a day for the kids?
Oh.
He said,
he
said, why? His question was why I asked. I'm like, oh, okay. He did. He said, so why you asked?
That's something we can do.
I was like, oh, okay. I was like, okay.
And they'll love it. They'll come.
Because he has different rooms. He has rooms so we could feed them.
Feed them, yes,
and
absolutely.
Let them go out there.
And let them go out there and enjoy themselves.
And I thought about that. I'm like, that might work for December.
Okay.
Because first it's far enough away.
Yeah.
And they can see Santa Claus and skate. And eat.
Yeah. And get a little present.
I say so, because that's for them will be hay.
Yeah.
And
that'd be great.
Yeah, he said, why are you asking me? I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I'll just come back with the date.
Yeah.
I told him, I'll come back with the date real quick. He said, what? I say, before September? Yeah. He said, we're going to have a date. We're going to have it all next
Yeah.
It'll be done.
Yeah, that'd be good. I think that would be great to have them all there.
Oh, yeah.
And they're all inside enclosed, so it's easy to manage it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we can see everybody.
We're going to do that one.
We can see people. We can see all the kids at all times. Where they sit and eat at, we can watch both at the same time.
Yeah.
Santa Claus
I think they would be more excited about that because kids love to skate.
Yeah.
And, they're going to get some to eat and just enjoy friendships. They know all each other.
Yeah, and it's their music.
Yes.
We're forced to listen to it.
Yeah. They know each other.
Yes.
Because when they have different, we did the Thanksgiving thing and we were all there. They all seem to be aware of each other.
Yeah.
The kids all knew each other. that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think we're gonna have to make that
we
happen.
can do that at St. Killeen.
Yeah, that's
you
gonna
know,
happen.
and
yeah,
they don't have to go nowhere. You know what I mean?
Yep, that's
Parents
it,
don't have to
there.
travel no place. They right there.
Yeah, and most of the kids are here in this area. So yes,
And that's something
or
different.
in Temple or Killeen. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, because the like you said, it's different. It's new.
Yeah, some different.
We didn't do it.
Yeah, we should do different things. I mean, come up with different ways to show them that we care for them and that somebody is there supporting them, and we want them to do the right things. You know, regardless of your circumstances, we want them to do the right thing. And I always tell kids when I'm working with them at school is that it doesn't matter what's happening in the world. The rules never change. You know, the rule says if you speed, you get a ticket. So, you know, and you say, I had a headache. The rule never changed. You still are speeding and it's a violation, you get a ticket. So I tell them all the time, I said, don't give an excuse for it. I said, just remember, regardless of how you're mad, and so you want to hit somebody. Well, the rule says this is what's going to happen if you do that. And so they have to understand the rules will never change, no matter what their circumstances are and what their situation is. So they have to figure out a way to make that work for them. So it's kind of cool.
And for everybody, pay attention to our children. Like I said, I work in elementary school, and if you can survive elementary school, you can survive a war. You know, one of our kids came to school, and she had a big bite on her shoulder, on her back shoulder. We weren't supposed to see it because it was on the back part of her shoulder. How would we ever see it? But unfortunately, her child wet her clothes. We had to change her clothes. We changed her shirt. Whoops! Called the nurse. And hey, she came to school like this.
Yep, that's it.
You know, Mom didn't send a note. No, nothing. So we decided to set Mom up. We didn't send nothing home to say that she had it. Next day, Mom, she came home with this bite mark.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and that's when we sent the note home to Mom from all of us in the classroom and the nurse to let her know. Here's the picture of it. This is the day.
This is the day.
She came to school with it.
this, yes.
You know, after that, we didn't hear nothing else. In fact, the little girl didn't come to school for a week. You know, but pay attention, you know. Yeah. Like her mother, her mother didn't bite her. Probably one of her siblings did because she likes to yank your hair. But anyway, you know, we paid attention. Mom wouldn't know. Who would think that on her back shoulder we would look? We wouldn't. Yeah. Well, no reason to be yanking on kids. But she wet her clothes. We had to change them. Yeah. You know, so hold up. But pay attention to our kids. Our kids are your kids. I think all kids are ours once we look at them. They become ours.
When they're in the community, they are ours. When they're at home with you, they're yours. So the community is responsible for making sure they're not responsible for chastising or hitting your child, but they're responsible for making sure your child is safe when they're in the community, paying attention. If something doesn't look right out there, they should be responsible for helping the child. If the child's throwing rocks at a car or a building, they're supposed to recognize that that's not a good thing. You know, people say, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to stay out of that. Well, you need to be a part of that because guess what? If you don't stop it out there, parents don't know what the children are doing out there. No. They know what they're doing at home, so they can get them there. But when they're in the community, they're our children. Right. And we must make sure that, and I tell them, I just stand there and look at them when they're out there doing things. They know who I am, so they begin, hey, Mr. Woodbury over there. You know, and then they'll just stop and they say, we're going home. I said, okay, hey, whether they're old or young. Right. I mean, I even high schoolers that know who I am, Mr. Woodbury, let's get out of here. And so it's important that they do it. I remember, Phyllis, when I was a kid, my mom used to stand at the front door as we had breakfast, getting ready to go to school. She'd look out. You know it's going to rain today, right? Go and get a jacket. You know, where are your books at? Right. You're going to school without your books. Go get your books. She'd stand there and check. No, you're not wearing that. No. Right. My sister, she'd get on no. Open that purse. Why you got that big old purse? Open that purse. Let me see what's in. No, take that out. Go put that back. She would be on them, and when we came home, and say I had a jacket when I left, but I left the jacket at school. She said, "Where is my jacket?" I said, "I didn't have your jacket." She said, "Did you buy some clothes?" I said, "No." She said, "That jacket belongs to me. Where is it at?" I said, "Well, I left it at school." She said, "Go back up to the school and get it." I said, "But everybody's gone." She said, "The janitors are not. Tell them you come there to get your jacket." She said, "Those things are what you take to school." I have a lot of time. I look at the clothes that kids leave their school. It's like a stockpile of clothes, and the kids are looking at their jackets on that rack, and they just bring another jacket, and it goes up there, and another jacket. Yeah. My mother said, "You will go up there and get my stuff and bring it back home." You know, that's a good time to examine your children when they leave to go to school, and when they come home. You know, it's our job to protect them, making sure that they're not being abused. Right. It's not their job always to tell us. No. You ask them questions. You identify something, because they're afraid that somebody's going to retaliate against them. If we identify it first, like we're supposed to, because we're supposed to be watching them on the playgrounds, at school, in the school. What are you doing? No. I know what you're doing. No. Move over to another spot. You know, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to police that. We're not supposed to wait for them to come and tell us, because they're afraid of that person bullying them. And so we must identify things early. All that stuff is all abuse. If we don't stop it first, when I'm out there watching kids, they don't like me out there watching kids. I would say, I did like my father used to do. He go, he just shake his head. I wouldn't think about it. They could be way across the area there. He go, and they knew exactly what he was saying without hearing a word from him. That's right. Or he put his hands on his hips like, what? What are you doing? So those are things that we must do to protect them from bullies, to show them how to get strong self-esteem, you know, because when their self-esteem goes down, it becomes an issue for them. You know, so we have to promote all that stuff. And there's ways that we do that by just observing kids on a regular basis. Yes, you have other things to do, but observation is number one. It's number one. So it's pretty good.
I want to thank you for coming on this morning.
Yes.
And now children, we have plans for you all. Parents, we got plans for you too.
Yeah, we should.
But by all means, as I said, go back and look at your children. Look at the other kids. Look at the neighbors' kids. And if there's a neighbor's kid who's outside every day, and all of a sudden they're not outside, there could be a problem. You might want to knock on the door and say, "Hey, how y'all doing today? Yeah. How you doing? I haven't seen him outside in a week." Just do it. And if the parent get mad, so what? Who cares?
Yes, the kids.
But take care of them. Yeah. But I want to thank everyone for listening to Kids Community Connections. And I hope that you cannot lead a positive life with a negative mind. We'll talk to you next Sunday. Bye.